Hey everybody, welcome to Mark Bell's Power Project podcast. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Piedmontese Beef. Nsima, can you tell me what you had for dinner last night?
You know what? I'm going to definitely tell you, and you're going to enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. But I want to quickly mention, the holidays are coming. So Piedmontese is a really awesome company that if you have a company that has maybe 20 to 500 employees, what better gift to give them than the gift of Piedmontese beef?
Nice.
Like Piedmontese, they partner with companies and they make it easy to help give your employees really healthy meat options as a gift. So check that out. Now, in terms of what I had for dinner, you know, certain people really think that ground beef is like the most, I guess, boring type of beef. But the thing about the Piedmontese 8515 is that it's just so good. So I legit just made that up, had some cheese, ate the whole pack. It was amazing. I can never go wrong with any cut of beef, or especially the ground beef that comes from Piedmontese.
For more information, please head over to Piedmontese.com. That's Piedmontese.com. At checkout, enter promo code Power Project for 25% off your order. And if your order is $99 or more, you get free 2-day shipping.
Helped my career more than I've helped the name, but you know, like we've it's kind of like, I want to say it's kind of an alter ego almost kind of
dream
thing.
killer?
Dream killer, yeah. It kind of happens more like at the gym more than anything else. So
Does it happen like out of frustration, or like what does it feel like to turn into the dream killer?
it's not like turning into it. It's just like when I get to that mode and I feel like I'm in that flow state, like that's when I'm like, it doesn't matter what they're gonna do. It doesn't matter. Like I get, you know, and I'm sure you feel it too. Like there's a time that you walk in the gym and you're like, yep, today's the day. Nothing can face me. Like doesn't matter how wrong it goes. Doesn't matter how good it goes. Like nothing can face me. Doesn't matter what anything happens. It's like my day is gonna go this way regardless.
How'd you get the nickname Dream Killer?
So
Whose dreams did you shatter?
So when I was 18, Carrion would partner me up, but there will always be people that would come through the gym, bigger guys, and they would come around and try to, you know, like they'll either beat up the girls or like beat up people smaller than them or like anything like that, or try to go too hard or not respect the rules of the gym. And he would partner me up with him. I was 135-pound little kid, walking around, 135-pound, 140-pound kid, 18 years old, cocky as shit, just ready, you know, like I was a different person than what I am now. And he would just partner up with him, and it would always go my way. I've tore at least 3 ACLs of leg kicks. But because I was that guy, I was that guy that he would put against, and that's why the Dream Killer came out. And
Just to basically kind of see like if somebody was really fit for the gym, almost, right?
Yeah, definitely came like that. Yeah, it was it just happened to be like that. I was a little shit, man. I was a little shit, and Karen will always put me with those people that would get out of control, and it's like, you know, that's exactly how I would go.
Yeah, you've been with Kieran since you've been really young. Has he kind of like mentored you a lot outside of the ring as well, and maybe taught you how to control some of that stuff, so you're not doing that kind of shit outside the ring? And not
I've definitely become a better person being with Kieran and having Kieran in my life. I used to be very cocky. I used to be very different than the person that I am now, and I'm still working on myself every day, man. But yeah, being around Kieran and growing up completely different. I grew up in Peru. I moved here when I was 13 years old, and when I moved in with him, it was things changed completely for me. Moved in with him when I was 16.
Lived with him?
I lived with him since I was 16, 17. I finished my last year of high school with him, and yeah, man, I mean, he's been a huge influence in my life, and I'm thankful for everything he's done for me. Thankful for everything, you know, MJ, thankful for everything MJ's done for me, and thankful for the community that they've created at CSA Gym. Yeah, man, I mean, I'm almost about to tear up right now.
Yeah, well, they probably, so then you probably really you're like a defender of the gym. Like when someone new comes in and they're not respecting the gym, I'd imagine that probably really impacts you a lot. It used
to a lot. I've definitely changed my ways a little more, and I'm trying to channel that energy and different, you know, and being more of a leader now, and try to motivate people around me versus, you know, being that guy. I'm not a little kid anymore, you know. I'm 28 years old. I just turned 28 the 14th of September. So I'm definitely trying to like use what I have and use my God-given talents and everything that I've been able to work for to motivate people. You know, I want to motivate people, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and that's okay, because at least I have a goal, and at least I can get to where I can look forward to that. And that's what I want to do. I just want to become more of a leader around the team, and I want to motivate people, not just at the gym, but all around the world. You know, I want. Do you
feel like in some way you were gifted this? I mean, because you're a very, very high level fighter. You've been doing it for a long time, and I don't want to take away any of the hard work. I know there's so much hard work and dedication that goes into it, but still, like a lot of people try and they don't do so great. Like you feel like you may have
when it came to striking, with grappling has been obviously a little different, but when it came to striking, the second that I stepped into the gym, it just felt like home. And my dad started first back in Peru, in Lima, Peru. We started going to this gym called F14. We were just doing Muay Thai at the time. And at first I would just go watch him, just watching and watching and watching. And eventually I started trying it out. And a few months later I had a fight. I had no clue. I had no idea like what to feel. I was so young. I just was kind of just brought up into it. And
how old were you?
I was 11 at the time.
Okay.
My first fight when I was 12. I took a little bit of a break. We moved to the north of Peru, and I was just kind of being more of a surfer at that time. There was like a year in between. And then we moved here. We moved to East Palo Alto, where my grandparents lived. And that's how I started, man. I started going to this boxing gym in East Palo Alto, and then I found Vertex in Mountain View down the street, and started training. And before I knew it, I had another fight coming up, and the rest is history. Met Kieran, and here we are. Yeah.
Cool. Dang. So when did you start fighting professionally?
I believe I was 21. So I think I was 20. I believe I was 20. I was 20 when I started fighting professionally, but I was fighting adults long before that. I was fighting adults. I was 16, 17, faking that I was 18 at the time. So because I had run out of juniors to fight, and we were fighting any weight class, man. It was from 135 to 160, just trying to get that experience so we can get to that goal, which would be going pro, you know, just trying to get the most experience that we could possible.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And for you, it was Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing. Like, when did you start getting everything together?
So we started with Muay Thai. We went professional with Muay Thai at first because it was what I was used to. I was in the U.S. national team for Muay Thai. I was also in the Peruvian national team. I'm a South American champion. 2-time South American champion. And then as we made the transition more we went pro, you know, the more I did this, I was like, well, I want to try kickboxing. And then, okay, well, I want to start making that transition into MMA. You know, I started watching the UFC and watching Bellator and watching everything. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. So Karen's like, okay, let's go. He's never, the beautiful thing about our relationship is he's never tried to, he's always tried to steer me in the right ways, but he's never like, no, you should do this, or no, you should do that, or like, I don't think you should go pro, or I don't like, he's always being very honest about his advice and everything that, you know, with everything. So I've always been very thankful with the things that he has to say about me. Same thing with MJ.
Starting so young with fighting, did you maybe look at fighting differently? Like, cause it sound like, I would imagine if you start young and you learn the skill of fighting, that's different than just like wanting to beat people up in the street. Or did you do that too?
So when I first started, I was a very angry kid, you know, and being honest with you, my parents divorced when I was 8. That was a huge thing for me. And it's something that I still deal with at a time. You know, I literally I just found that to be such a big thing that dragged me in my life for so long.
It hurts a lot of people. And I think I've seen people torn apart more than that, than not having another parent at all, which is, you know, sounds strange.
And I had no clue, man. I honestly had no clue.
It really impacts people.
And it's not till I started like looking at myself and like really like looking in the mirror and be like, what is it that makes you this way? You know, and I found that to be such a huge thing for me. So I was able to call my parents and be like, hey, I forgive you. And I'm sorry for acting this way for all these years. You know?
That must have been a big phone call. That must have been hard to make. It was
huge because I left my mom when I was 13. I left Peru and my mom let me come here. You know, and it was huge to do that because I have two little sisters and a brother, and you know, and like I've always been very distant, and to be able to like move forward from that and being like, you know what, I love you guys, and you know, you've always been great to me, and like I'm sorry if I was any different way. And,
right.
that I should have been.
It's hard it's hard on both sides of it. You know, as a kid, you're going through it for the first time. And as a kid, you think your parents don't know anything that you're talking about or anything that you're going through, but they actually do because they went through it themselves.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is that the parents are going through it with you for the first time.
Yep.
And that's what's hard. So when you find out the kid smokes pot, you find out the kid got into a fight, you find out the kid, you know, is doing whatever the hell kids, you know, whatever the hell kids get into. You don't know how to, you have no idea how to react. What do? You punch a hole in the wall, you yell at the kid, kick him out of the house.
And that was the
what
thing.
What are the options? You give him love, you give him a hug, say, hey, I love you. Like, you don't need to act this way. Like, I don't know, but there's no right or wrong. There's nothing that's going to stop it.
And like I said, I was very angry, and like talking to you guys about it, I finally figured out that I channel all my energy into either surfing at first and then fighting. That's all I channel my energy into. You know, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to train. I wasn't like going out to high school parties or anything like that. I was just wanting to train. And when I didn't, my dad would be there for me and be like, no, you have to train. And now I always have that discipline with me, you know, and I was thinking for that, you know, and like I said, like I also had to forgive myself and forgive them, you know, because he didn't know how to be a parent. My dad was 21, you know, my mom was 20. They didn't know how to be parents to me, you know, and the fact that it didn't work out, it made me the person that I am now. And I'm thankful for that.
It's easy to see as an adult, like, oh, it didn't work out. Like, that fucking happens to tons of people. Exactly. It's actually very normal. Like, it's not weird.
Yeah, it's not. And I'm thankful that they learn with me, and now like with my brothers and my mothers, my younger siblings, they can be better people. You know, that makes me happy. You know, it still hurts at times. You know, like, fuck, like that could have been me. You know, like it happens. You know, but I'm thankful for that. And
they say the first man through the wall gets bloody, and that's the first kid. You know, the first kid gets fucked up because the parents don't know what they're doing yet. Exactly.
But I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for everything that I've been through in my life. And, you know, it's made me who I am today. It's made me a strong person, and I'm looking forward to doing more things with that, you know, now that I can leave that behind.
So,
you know?
I'm curious, like when you were a teenager, how did you come to like stay with Kyrian? Because you came here with your dad. So how did that happen?
So I moved here with my dad, and then my dad had a new marriage. In his new marriage, he found that he wanted to go back to Peru. When he wanted to go back, I was like, I want to stay. I live here. This is my new home. And I had already met Kyrian at the time. I was commuting to Dublin from Palo Alto. I was a junior in high school, commuting every day back and forth. Kyrian would give me $20 of gas every couple of days or whatever. Wow. And he supported me through all that. And I was like, dude, I'm really tired, man. Like, I'm tired of driving. Like, I was doing everything that I need to do to be a good student so I could train. Because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to train because my parents were like that. And my grandma was like that. And eventually I was like, dude, just move in. Like, we talked about it. He talked to Jessica. They opened their doors to me, and they became a home for me, you know? And I'm happy that I was able to I didn't have a family like that growing up, like them, you know, a happy marriage.
That's wild too, because you got to keep in mind they got their own kids.
Yeah, and
that's a big deal. Taking somebody else,
it is a big deal.
Taking in another teenager, fuck that.
Yeah, and I was a senior in high school, and they, you know, and Kyrian was supporting me through everything. They supported me through everything. I'm so thankful. Him and Jessica, like, thank you guys, like, really.
Yeah, everybody. I believe that everyone gets a shot from somebody, you know, and it's not always that kind, but
yeah.
I mean, that's really, really amazing, and I think that, you know, fortunately, no matter how bad your life is, it seems like there's always somebody that picks you up, or there's somebody that's a mentor, there's somebody that cares just enough about you, grandma and aunt, somebody comes along somewhere along the lines.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've always had that with my grandpa passed a year ago, and he was that person for me, you know. But Kyrian's always been there for me. He from the minute that we met. I mean, he didn't like me very much at first.
Really?
No, he hated me. Hated my guts. Like I said, I was a cocky kid. I thought, you know, I thought I was the shit, you know, and I wasn't. I was nowhere near where I want to be. I'm still nowhere near where I want to be. But yeah, man, we didn't like each other. I didn't like
Kyrian's fucking crazy. Like it's very hands on. Like he's been holding mitts for you for how long?
For years.
And but he won't let anybody else do it.
Yeah, it's not that
I'm sure you get training with other people.
I get training with other people. I've been working with Mike Bassel out at Aloha Time Boxing in San Mateo, and we've been working a little with my hands a little bit. So I'm improving that. I'm excited to show that on my next fight.
He was telling me though he has to feel, even though it's killing him, his elbows, like his whole body's fucked up.
Yeah,
but he said that he needs to feel it because he needs to know kind of where you're at.
Yeah, that's skinny Kyrian.
I don't believe that was recent.
No, it wasn't recent. But yeah, I mean, yeah, my game we just have we've developed this relationship that he doesn't even have to say anything. We'll just flow, but at times, he'll stop and correct me and say the things that he needs to say. And, we just keep improving. And that's the whole game, right? Just trying to be better than you were yesterday. And that's what I'm trying to do right now, man. That's my whole game right now. Just trying to be better than I was yesterday. And like trying to set goals and trying to set small goals throughout the day, like having a schedule, sticking to that schedule to the best of my abilities, because you never know. There's certain things that happen.
Can't get to everything every day.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to accomplish that, and I'm trying to communicate when I'm feeling with myself and with my coach, like not let my ego get in the way. Be like, no, push through that. Sometimes you need the push, but sometimes you gotta be an athlete and be like, no, man, like relax. There's always the next day. Still, let's recover today, and let's come back stronger tomorrow. And I'm sure you can relate.
Absolutely.
You said that you were like an angry kid. And obviously it's great that you had the outlet of fighting. But I'm always curious about this with fighters. When you are, you're sparring or you're getting ready for a fight or you're actually fighting, do you associate a lot of anger with that? Like when you're actually having to fight people, do you use anger, or are you just like, because you mentioned the flow state too.
I used to at first. Now I try to be an assassin in there. Emotions and fighting don't go well together. At least for me, they don't work out. I can't be angry in there. I need to see everything, and I treat it like a business transaction, man. I'm there to just be better than the other guy, and every day I treat it like that. That's how I gotta be. I gotta show up to the office and go. Like, you can't be angry in the office, right? So it's the same way that I try to be. And some people, and that just because it works for me doesn't mean it works for everybody. And I'm still every day I'm trying to adjust and trying to find my groove and trying to become better. Become just better. And you find that I used to be very angry. I used to be very emotional. That's how the name Dream Killer came, because I was emotional and I was that angry kid, and I was able to, doesn't matter, put him in front of me. I don't care, Dream Killer. And then now that I'm maturing and becoming the person that the athlete that I want to be, I'm trying to, complete the circle, become better all around, not be just a striker that can stop takedowns, but become an offensive wrestler, become better on the ground, become better all around, become a better striker. Just because I've been a striker doesn't mean I'm the best striker, so I'm trying to just keep evolving, man. That's right now, like that's my season. I just want to keep evolving as a person, as an athlete, as a human, all around.
Is that the hardest thing? Like, ultimately, because like I think in other sports, you got other people to rely on. You play basketball or football. There's other people on the field, and you can blend in and take a playoff and stuff like that here and there. But there's no real breaks when it comes to fighting, and it ultimately seems like when I talk to a lot of fighters, it seems like it's kind of them going against themselves, and I think that's why the movie Fight Club was such a huge hit, because ultimately it was him that he was fighting against the whole time.
That was the theme, 100%. And you got to get out of your own way. And I know so many fighters that are great, and I mean myself included. Sometimes you can be as good as you want, and you can be really good at the gym, but those emotions get in your way. You get in your way. You get in your own head, and that's where you gotta be. You gotta have those people to keep you in check and keep you accountable. And self-accountability is a huge thing too. If you think you're the best and you're already there where you're at and you've done enough or whatever, like, you're not going to get anywhere.
I think a big thing that happens is because you might be doing really well, everyone's thinking, okay, well, this is the way. And all I got to do, if I hook up with Dream Killer and I'm part of his crew, all I got to do is make sure he's on the same path. But that's actually not true. What I would need to do to make sure you're on the best path is to say, hey, that training session looked like fucking shit today, and you know it, and you dogged it, and that was crappy, and we need to fucking do better than that.
And that's why I love Kieran. That's why I love Kieran, because he'll tell me exactly where it went wrong or when it went wrong, because he knows me that well. He's like, well, I think you threw this one jab and you hyperextended your elbow and everything went to shit from there. You're 100% right. But that used to be me. Now, can we hyperextend our elbow in that jab but still have a good session? Can we get taken down and just get back up? Can we have a bad round and switch that? That's it's fighting, man. It's fighting. And like you were talking about, like with fighting is completely different. Like you have two people and they're fighting for money, fighting for glory. We're not playing basketball. We're not playing football. You can't rely on the team. Yeah, you have a team, but it's still you in there against yourself and against the other guy. It's...
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you think that like that's a natural progression, like for a fighter? Like you said you did use the anger, and then now you're like an assassin. So if like there's a younger fighter listening, they look up to you and they're just like, well, shit, I'm angry and that's all I know. Does that mean I don't have what it takes? Or do you think like it's kind of like I said, like a progression that it needs to happen?
I believe that it's all about balance, and the more you're in the game, the more you figure out yourself. The more you find what works and what doesn't work for you. Yeah, some people need that. Some people need that. I want to beat the shit out of this guy. I want to beat this guy, and we all want to beat the other person. But some people use the anger and channel that, and some people it works better for some people. That emotion, that raw, and some people get caught like that because they can't use it. I'm one of those people. I can't have emotion like that in the gym. I need to be clear-minded, and I need to be focused, and I need to know exactly where I'm going at all times.
Have you been able to beat anybody in your belief like that was better than you just because you maybe got in their head, or they were nervous about your elbow, or they were nervous about a particular style of fighting that you bring to the table?
Well, that's all fighting is essentially. You want to beat you. We're fighting people that are just as good as us or better. And in any given day, that person can be better than you. And in any given day, you can be better than them. What are we bringing to the table in this specific day, Yeah,
because you may have, if you fought 5 times, could be some different results, right?
Or exactly how they fight. They fought your teammates, or they fought someone that and you've watched all their fights, and you're better than them, but maybe on that specific day, you're not. And you see that all the time in fighting, whether it's a UFC, Bellator, or anywhere. You see that all the time. It's just about being able to stick to your game plan and make your opponent fight their B plan. That's it. That's what fighting is. If you can stick to your game plan, then you can...
Have you had that happen before in the ring where you're like, fuck, this ain't working?
All the time, man. All the time. I have rounds
Coach,
like that.
Hey, we talked about this, so it's not working.
Yeah, and we talk. My last fight
That's gotta be kind of scary, actually.
My last fight was I felt good. I felt really good. A lot of people say I won. I don't care about that. I don't care about, at the end of the day, I didn't win. I need to, I'm like, what do we need to do here? What are the adjustments? I felt good to this point.
Yeah, when some lose some, who's to say? What doesn't really matter. You got the L, and you got to try to move on from it, right?
Exactly. It's not moving on. It's just like, okay, what led to that? What led to that loss? What do we need to work on to improve? And that's something that, like I said, self accountability. It can go all around in all aspects of life, in all sports. It's all about self accountability and like being able to like look at your own shit.
I know that there's like not really, I guess, a formula, right? But coming from a fighter, I want to know your opinion on this. Obviously, you started with Muay Thai, so you started as a striker. But when you look at all the different martial arts that are compiled into MMA, how would you, on the broad scheme of things, rank like maybe what's the most difficult thing to learn, or maybe what are the most important skills in terms of these different martial arts to have? How would you rank them in terms of effectiveness?
Rank, I don't think it's something that you can rank. You can't rank. What do you prefer, to bench or squat?
Squat.
Okay. I know. Okay. You make it this really complicated.
I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? Like, what's your better lift? Like, what?
I understand though.
You understand what I'm saying?
It's
though,
like
right?
Israel Adesanya. Like he's a super skilled striker. And
He's
Paulo
an assassin.
Grappler, but
and you have two different. In any given day, it can go all around. You see, it can go either way.
Fucked up his analogy, man.
I know.
You fucked it up.
He even stole his nickname. Now you're the dream killer.
Damn. Like that. Be like that sometimes. Huh?
2 seconds.
Yeah.
But I get like when you watch fights, it's like sometimes like even though another guy's really good at grappling, the striker just pieces him up. So you can't say grappling's better.
Styles make fights, man. That's the thing. Styles make fights, and whoever's better prepared for that given night is what's gonna win. Who can execute their game plan the best?
I think I have a better one for you then. This one I think I can get a clear answer.
Okay.
Out of all the martial arts that you've been learning, which one was the hardest for you to pick up? I know you've been doing striking forever, but what do you think's like just
Jiu-jitsu
the weirdest?
is really hard, man.
Yeah.
Just grappling, that that grind that comes from grappling is definitely really hard. At least for me, coming from being a striker and being able to like punch and box and kick and everything.
Nsima's been saying before that, you know, jiu-jitsu doesn't really make any sense. Like it doesn't, like if we were to fight, like I could make some sense of like, hey, if I square up against you, if my shoulders are square to you, you got more targets to hit. So let me turn to the side. Let me try to throw a jab. Let me try to keep my hands up. Like all those things make sense. But once you start doing jiu-jitsu moves, it's like a totally different language, and you have to learn it. You don't all of a sudden, you don't just know it. Whereas you might kind of know decently how to throw a couple punches and how to protect yourself.
Yeah. Well, it just depends. I mean, the boxing stance can get you, you know, if I'm way too bladed, I'm going to get calf kicked, you know, but I can land a really good jab.
That's what makes MMA so fucking hard. Yeah.
Exactly. MMA styles make fights, man. Styles make fights, and you know, grappling is really hard. And like I said, I feel like it's a never ending journey when it comes to grappling. Like if you see jiu-jitsu guys, like there's so many positions and so many, and I think that's all around in martial arts. You never stop learning, you never stop evolving, and that's at the same time that's what makes it so beautiful, man. Because you're never done. You're done when you want to hang him up. Yeah. But even then, you're never done, because then you're a coach, and then you're transferring that knowledge, and that's beautiful too.
And also to this level, with this amount of money that's in the game now, this is all new. So fighting is going to continue to evolve massively over the next several years. I mean, you've seen how different it is now versus like 10, 15, 20 years ago. Like when Royce Gracie first stepped foot into the UFC octagon. I mean, I know there's a lot of fighting before that. There's a long history of it, but I'm talking about like the monetization and it being in America and the UFC and all that kind of stuff.
No, definitely. And like, and of course it's blown up, but also you see like, you don't see a really good jiu-jitsu guy not have any striking or any wrestling. Like you have to be well rounded. It's a different game, and that's I believe that's something that's happened in sports in general. Sports have evolved completely. You know, technology. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. We train like everyone's an athlete out there now. If you look at a soccer field, you got 22 guys that they can all run the same. They're all tall. They're all muscular, and you know. And then fighting, same thing. Like the top 10, they're all, you know, they're not gonna have any holes.
Yeah. You know? So as you're training like each aspect of MMA, how are you able to stay present for that one thing? Like, let's say you're going up against a good striker, so you're learning some defense or something. How are you able to just really focus in on that one thing and not worry like, ooh, is he working on his ground game right now? Am I doing the wrong thing? Am I focused on the wrong thing right now? Like, to me, I just feel like, I mean, the thought of fighting another dude just would terrify me. You know, like, that's not something I'm like...
It is terrifying, man. It is terrifying. I mean, I'm telling you, I go in there all the time. It's terrifying. Yeah. Fighting's terrifying.
So with that,
it's
like...
scary. It's a scary thing to do. You're in there and you're like, all right, this cage is locked in and we're going.
Yeah.
We're fighting. And
so like, yeah, how are you able to like really like zone in, focus? And
so every fight, every week, every training session, you know, at least me and Kieran, we talk about things. We talk about, we have a schedule. We have and we have a lot of training sessions together, obviously, whether it's sparring or pats and then I'll talk to him about it. Like, hey, today went great. Today didn't go so great. And today maybe I need a day off. Tomorrow let's take the afternoon off and go harder tomorrow. Yeah, it's just about, I mean, and then what happened in each fight, you know, where are the holes? You know, it's a game of trying to fill in different holes. You know, so you don't have any holes, and you can be that, you know, that top 10 fighter, that top 5 fighter, eventually that champion. That's the goal, you know. We're prize fighting.
What's it like having a fight lined up now when everything was so weird a little bit ago with like COVID and stuff like that, and the gym's closing down? Like, it's got to feel good to like concentrate on something and have a mission.
Well, definitely that was the first thing, man. Like when COVID hit, it was just gyms are closed, everything's closed. You're like, what do? You run outside, and then you know you have the smoke coming up, and you can't even run outside.
All hell's breaking loose.
All hell's breaking. There's nothing to do. You know, I bought a Nintendo Wii, so I'm playing Mario Kart the whole time. I'm still training. Obviously, I didn't stop training at all because I have access to the gym. But it changed, man. Because I mean, you don't have as many training partners. Some people are still really scared. And regulations, you know, every county is different. But having something to look forward to, November 19th, Bellator MMA, CBS Sports. That's what I'm looking forward to right now. And that's, every day there's, a certain amount of goals, trying to get those goals and do things. And then, everything's towards that date. And that's what we're looking forward to right now.
Is it hard to have any sort of balance in the rest of your life when you're in like a quote unquote training camp?
I mean, that's everything revolves around that training camp.
So everything else is kind of shut down for you.
Everything's kind of shut down, like going out, friends, everything's training. Especially right now, I'm driving a good amount compared to what I've done in previous camps. I'm going to Half Moon Bay, train with Adam Piccolotti and his coach Raul Castillo, and doing that. Coming here to Sacramento at least once or twice a week. Going to San Mateo, as I mentioned before. So there's a good amount of driving.
Wow.
That's happening there. So yeah, everything else gets kind of shut down. It's just about the training sessions.
And at your level, though, it's just about whatever it takes. And it's not whatever it takes for somebody else. It's whatever it takes for you. So for you, it might take meeting with these different coaches. Someone else might have it easier because they're naturally talented or whatever it might be. But it's for you.
And that's something that I love about working with Kieran, that he's that kind of person that we're like, okay, this is what we need to work on. And maybe you can't work those things with me, so we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here, and that's huge.
No, that's
having
great.
a coach that can put their ego aside and their pride aside like that, and be like, no, you should work with them. You should work with this person. You should work with this person. And he's still the head coach. He's still, he's still my dad. But he can do that for me, and a lot of coaches can't. A lot of coaches are not. If you're not working with me, you're not working with me. You work with me, or you don't work with nobody else. Yeah. So I'm finding that balance right now between my training camps and everything, that this recipe is working pretty good for me right now. I feel probably the best I've ever felt when it comes to grappling or takedown defense. I'm working, I'm progressing, and striking even. I feel really good right now.
As we crack open this outright bar, I got to ask you a question about your nutrition. So, because I've seen you walk in here with some Monster Energy and a couple of bars and stuff. Let us know what you think of the bar first. Give us a drum roll, Andrew. Oh, good job, Andrew.
I tried.
I didn't know you could do it.
I've never had cookies and cream peanut butter.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Shout out to Mark Lobliner and the Outright Bar. Thank you guys for setting us up with some of these bars.
Alcohol, I like it.
Yeah, it's basically just honey and peanut butter slapped together and some protein.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
He did a great job.
It's a good job, yeah.
We're just going to eat the rest of the show.
I just... You do the rest for a little bit, man. I'm just going to enjoy this bar.
He's got to wipe off a little bit.
It makes me drool really bad.
That's what I meant. It does do that.
It's terrible. So what's your nutrition like?
So to make 145, I never had a huge cut. And I've always ate clean. I've never had to follow anything too specific until the last couple of weeks. So I've always just kind of being an athlete about it, just like I'm hungry, eat. I know how to eat clean. I've worked with My Dolce in the past. I work with Lockhart as well. Now I'm gonna start working with perfecting athletes because I'm doing a little bit of a weight cut. I fought my whole career in Muay Thai at 140 pounds, so it's 63.5 kilos or something like that. And that's where I felt best at. But the weight classes don't go like that. There's no 140 weight class. But my next fight will be at 140, which I'm really excited about because I'm going to be doing a catch weight. Essentially, the goal is to make it down to bantamweight. The one time that I made it down to bantamweight, it didn't work out so well. Little story. I was an amateur. I was supposed to fight at 142. My opponent pulled out maybe 3 days before. So I have to make 142. So I'm probably walking around 150, 152. 10-pound cut, no big deal.
Yeah.
Nothing major. I'm used to cutting 10 pounds. And then Kieran comes back to me. He's like, hey, man, your opponent pulled out. The only fight I can get you is at 135 with this guy. It might have been like 3-4 days notice. So going from 152 to 135 was huge. And I didn't know how to do that cut. I didn't know how to do it right. And I did it. I made it. Long story short, my nervous system wasn't ready to take no punches. All I knew is I woke up and I got knocked out.
Dude, I'm curious about this, man, because like you hear about fighters doing weight cuts, right? But how long typically do they have before the fight? Because don't guys like they get to that weight And then once that's it, they rehydrate and they can get maybe up to 15 to 20 pounds heavier on fight day?
Yes, 100%. So when I've stepped in the scale at 145, the next day I'll be, and I actually have a pretty funny weight cut story to tell you guys overseas, but I'll step in the cage at 160, 161 pounds.
Jeez.
So that's a 16 to 15 pound. Wow. And some guys do it even bigger than that. That's the thing. But I don't cut too much weight, so getting there is not hard, but I'll still have that rebound. But I feel like at 135, I can really be the very best version of myself if I can do it gradually and I can do it the way that I want to. And I think I have a little more knowledge now than back then when I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll fight, man. Like, meathead back then, just like, yep, let's do it. I'll fight. Kieran's like, yep, cool. Sounds good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that cut. I'm looking forward to like being able to make that weight and actually rehydrate and actually do it properly. But yeah, I mean, all these guys now, like everyone's got someone, that they're working with, and there's so many companies out there. And like like I said, I've worked with Dolce before. I've worked with Lockhart. I've never had to do like an extensive like an 8-week or 7-week. Like this is what you're eating. But that's probably what I'm gonna have to do to make 135. But I'm fine with it. I have the discipline to do that. So. And
let me, as an athlete, I'm just curious about just your thoughts on it. Do you think that that's something that should evolve in terms of what athletes need to do to weight cut? I mean, or should athletes just be able to fight at their weight at that class?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, that will be. I mean, that's what One Championship is doing right now. I don't know if you know what One Championship is. Yeah. So they don't have any weight cuts. Oh. They do a hydration test throughout the week or something like that. I heard some people still cheat the system. They'll still cut weight because there's always ways to cheat the system, right? But yeah, they don't do weight cuts over there. Essentially, that would be the best way to go about it. Just having, this is your weight class and this is where you stay at and just perform.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I feel like I know this is the hardest sport in the world, man. Having to cut weight, having to learn different arts, having to keep your cardio up and your strength up, and weight cut at the same time, and having to fight someone as personal as it gets, finding someone in a cage locked in I think is the hardest sport in the world.
Yeah. There's none of them don't have any weight classes, right? Like the UFC used to not have a weight class. I don't think it's just like
absolutely. Yeah,
it was like whatever.
I mean, there's some jiu-jitsu competitions that they don't have weight classes, and I mean, if you go to Thailand, like they don't weigh you in. I mean, unless you're going to like when the lower level stuff, like they look at you like, yep, you're about, yep, you're about, yep, I think you're good. Yeah, you're fighting. Cool.
What's the big advantage of somebody being heavier? They're just stronger. I mean,
stronger, heavier. Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of things that definitely like. If I were to fight
there's some pluses and some minuses, maybe, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, if you cut too much weight, it will. I mean, I just told you a story about me getting knocked out for cutting too much weight and not knowing how to do it and not knowing how to rehydrate. I literally remember cutting weight and I put on maybe 2 pounds, 3 pounds overnight. So that's how bad my body reacted to that cut and to that rehydration. Wow. And I had cut probably over. So I went in there dehydrated, and think about it. My brain, I've been depleting my brain of fluids and water and food. So going in there and trying to perform, you're like, this is different. So yeah, I mean, the advantage is like, yeah, you're bigger, but it can also hurt you. It can also hurt you really bad. You hear about fighters, I don't know if it's the same with powerlifting when it comes to bad weight cuts, but when it comes to fighting, people have bad weight cuts all the time. So,
yeah, it happens with lifting quite a bit. So in lifting, it doesn't really matter if you're if you're really like bloated or you feel like you have a lot of like water or liquid floating around. It's like not a huge deal. Or even if you can kind of stuff yourself during the competition itself and really keep that weight on. But for a fighter, I'd imagine that it might make you feel slow, might make you feel sick to your stomach. So you probably have to be cautious on how you bulk back up, right?
And that was the thing that I really like using the Lockhart. They kept me fed all throughout the week. And I remember the process. Even though I didn't cut too much weight, I was like, are you sure you want me to eat this, man? Because I want to make weight. Like, I don't want to not, like, because if you don't make weight, that's I believe it's 20 or 30% of your purse.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
You know, and that just goes to the other guy automatically without even, you don't even have to.
That's good. I like that punishment. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, you lose part, if you don't make weight, you lose part of your you know, your earnings. But yeah, I mean, it's just some cuts can go really well, some cuts can go really bad, and it's just kind of hard to, like, you just got to know what your body is used to and how you can go, and you got to trust. If you don't know how to cut, you definitely got to hire somebody. You know, I've done all my cuts with carrying. As far as the actual weight loss, the water loss before the weigh-in, I can cut 10, 12 pounds in a few hours, like 2-3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Who decides whether or not the fight's still going to happen? Because like, let's say like an up and comer, he has a big fight. Like they're going to like, oh, it's the first test of his career. What if he can, I mean, I would doubt that this would actually happen. But if he's like, well, shit, I just want to make sure I feel the best. So I'm not going to be too stressed about the weight because I'm just going to give up 30% of my purse. Yeah. But I'll get the accolades from the win. Like, who decides whether or not the fight's going to still happen?
So it depends on how much you miss by. There's some commissions that are like, okay, if you miss by over 5 pounds, you can't fight. Okay. You know, or there's some commissions that are like, okay, you miss by 2 pounds, you have 3 hours to make the weight, and if you make the weight, you're good. You know, because there's a window. There's a it's different with all organizations, but from 9 to 11 you weigh in. So say you weigh in at 9 and you miss by a pound. Okay, you have 2 hours to come back and make the weight. Some guys are done though. Some, like, I mean, you can imagine sometimes that pound won't go, man. Doesn't matter what you do. Once you get to that weight loss, once you get to that point, your body doesn't want to lose any more weight. You know. So answering your question is, it just depends on the commission. It also depends on, some people don't want to fight people that miss weight, and I've seen it happen too. You know, because if you look at people that have missed weight, most of them win after when they miss weight. I don't know what the
number is, yeah.
What the numbers are exactly, but most people that have missed weight in the past, they end up winning after.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What'd you say? You said that you had a funny story about overseas.
Oh yeah. So I was fighting kickboxing in Italy. Probably one of my favorite fights. It was in the Coliseum in Rome.
Wow.
Awesome. I leave San Francisco SFO. I weigh myself and I'm like, okay, I'm like a 153, 154, and I had to be 145. So I'm like, that's not a big thing. I'm always really good about what I eat on planes, and I bring my food and I bring my egg whites, make sure the sodium's low, make sure keep the water intake, like diuretics, all that, like make sure that it can be as smoothly as possible. For some reason, man, I think I grabbed like 5 RX bars and I ate all of them.
Why?
And you know how much sodium those have, and I don't know why. I just read like 3 egg whites. This is like, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is all I need. I get there, I'm 162.8 pounds, and I had to be 145 in maybe 2.5 days.
Oh my God.
So that's like what, like 18?
Yeah.
18 pounds. Yeah. And there was normally like there's a pound allowance, but because it was there's like, you know, you see it all the time, like unless it's a championship fight, you can make up, you know, if the weight class is 145 or 185, you can do 146. Right. Because you get a pound. I didn't get a pound because of kickboxing. It was like 145.2 on the dot I had to make. And I look at Karen and I was like, I don't think, I had never cut that much weight. And I had just ran like 4 miles, and I was probably 20 pounds over, man. Honestly, if we have to be honest here, like I was probably 20 pounds over. And I get there, I'm like, well, fuck, let's get to it. Yeah. So we get to work, man.
Did you make weight?
I made weight. I won the fight. But I'll tell you what, going back to that, like I was really scared to get knocked out, and I was fighting a power puncher, but I was really scared to get knocked out because I was like, dude, I don't know if my nervous system can take this right now. I really don't know. I don't know if my chin's there like that because I cut so much weight, and that's a thing. But I made it, and in between rounds, I remember I took it I was like, he hits hard. I was like, you're fine, you're doing good. And I had everything in that fight to finish it. I could have finished it, but I was so cautious it was still a good performance, but I had that in the back of my head, you know, which actually essentially it made me a better defensive fighter for that fight. Having the counter fighter, the guy's last fight was with Kevin, and he lost a split decision for the belt. So I was fighting a heavier puncher,
right?
You know, and I remember like he hit Kevin a couple times, like, and that was in the back of my head, but I was still having that in the back of my head and having Kieran in front of me telling me. And I remember it was a beautiful fight, and it was awesome because I had Kieran and Jessica.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you've seen that picture that I posted, but it was
I'm not sure.
It was Jessica holding the ice, and then Kieran right in front of me. I was like, and what I said, I was like, "When mom and dad take you to school."
That's really cool.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. It was a great experience. Yeah, I can't wait to fight overseas again. Hopefully soon, you know. Hopefully when.
Are you sometimes surprised that people still get hit by your elbows? I mean, they should be like knowing that this shit's coming, right? Like, but remember, you know, Chuck Liddell years ago, he'd throw that haymaker right hand, and you're just like, how's everybody getting killed by this? Or when Ronda Rousey came along, she just got everybody an armbar. But I guess, you know, when you're fighting and you break someone down, you start to tire them out. It really doesn't matter if they know it's coming. You're still able to get it in there somehow, right?
I mean, people see the elbow, but they don't. A lot of times, they don't. The naked eye can't see what leads onto that. You know, there's jabs, there's teeps, there's different things that I use to set it up. And at the same time, like I finish people with leg kicks, I finish people with body shots. Like that's not the only thing that I have to bring in, especially right now at this moment that I'm trying to develop.
Well, they might be overthinking that, and then they get blasted by something else, right?
And man, I tell you, I have fights that I've tried to land that, and it won't land. And I'm like, let's go to something. And Karen will tell me, I was like, hey man, this shit's not gonna land today. Let's go to this. Let's go to the basics. Let's fall back on the foundation that we have.
See if you can find a couple of those, Andrew.
You're not like he'll tell me like you're not just a spinning elbow. You can do way more than that. You're a much more complete athlete than just a spinning elbow. And sometimes when you have those moments and you have those wins and those crazy I seen this, like I saw this happening. And yeah, that's one of my I believe that's one of my earlier highlights in my career. I used to walk out with that bandana like that all the time. Look at that.
Do you think a striker, like they used to say it about Tyson, you know, they used to say like a puncher. They say a puncher, in this case a striker.
Yeah, that was a 2017 knockout of the year.
Is born and not made. Do you kind of believe something? I mean, obviously, like you could teach me a bunch of skills and I can learn to punch harder.
Yeah.
But there is something about these guys that can strike really hard, like yourself, Kevin Ross, and so on, where it's like, man, I don't know if you can really teach that little extra that you guys put on some of these shots.
Yeah, that was at the SAP Center.
Dude, that's not nice. This is not the way you're supposed to behave, okay? This is a little out of control.
But I'll tell you, man, there's no anger behind that. But I can show you which fights like I've been angry in.
Yeah.
And those are usually the best ones. Those are usually like that one. I wasn't angry, but I was trying to. When you're trying to find that knockout, when you're trying to knock people out, sometimes it doesn't happen. You gotta fall back on those and the foundations and the game plan. Yeah, that was probably one of my best fights. One of my favorite fights.
Dude, he doesn't know where he's at.
Yeah, he's gone, bro.
How are your shoulders and stuff? Your body feel real good?
Right now?
Throwing all these shots and your elbows and stuff. Like, how's everything feeling?
I've from all the elbows and all the little things. I probably have some bone chips in there, but they feel fine right now. I was mentioning to you powerlifting and adding some of these lifts into my training and incorporating it. I did it early on in my career when I was making just 140, and I felt really good. Me and Jessica came up with a plan. We were doing 5x5s, everything. I felt really strong, but I still felt a little sluggish at that time because I don't think I did it right the proper way. And now we've come up with a good plan and a good way that it works. That's and I tell you, man, I've fallen in love with squatting. That's great. I feel strong. I feel really strong, and I'll agree with you. I hate benching too.
I think a little bit of training when it comes to resistance training, weight training specifically. Yeah. I think it could just go so far for so many athletes. It doesn't have to be a ton, though. I don't think.
And I'll tell you, I'll squat once or twice a week, and then Jesse showed me how to use I don't know what is it called, the low,
maybe belt squat.
I think it's the belt squat. It's the one that you dude. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, and it translates so well to fighting. And for fighters out there that are listening, I highly recommend it. You don't have to be, you don't have to just do that, and you can incorporate it. Like I still run, I still bike, I still do conditioning. I'm the lightest I've probably been in a minute, and I'm still squatting. I know it's not huge numbers for you guys, but 335 box squat 5x5.
Dude,
that's sick.
That's crazy. And you're what,
155?
Super strong.
Yeah, I felt, and that was solid. Like that was just with the belt.
Clean reps.
Yeah, clean reps. I think I sent you the video.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can go stronger now. I can probably hit 350 or even beyond.
That's sick, man.
Dude,
So yeah, I've fallen in love with squatting, and it's one of my favorite things to do. Actually,
you feel it when you're training now, or you feel it in the ring, like when someone goes to take you down, or someone kicks you, or you kick somebody else.
I've never had my blood taken in like that, but I feel my testosterone like just went way up. I feel more energized. I feel
filled out your beard a little bit.
for sure. I mean, no doubt, man. No doubt. But I feel really good though adding those lifts. Just the squatting. I think I mentioned some Romanian deadlifts. I love kettlebell deadlifts as well. Just two big kettlebells and just it's all core. It all translates. And that's what I love. And we do some cleans, we do some benching, some push and pull, some pull-ups. I lift with MJ all the time too.
Yeah,
we have fun. We have fun with it. But yeah, my days lifting with carrying, those days I work in the squat, I love those days, man. I love those days because I know my day is gonna just go up from there. It's just gonna be wow.
I think a lot of times when people are thinking about like they're gonna add weight training, that they need to be in the gym for 2 hours or something, and it can be fun. So for those people that like it, then do whatever's fun for you. But I think you can get away with doing like just 3 to 5 exercises and have tremendous results, maybe about 3 times a week, maybe 4, depending on the person. But what do you think, Nsima? Because you've been utilizing a lot of strength training and having awesome results on the mat. So what do you think for yourself or for some other people?
In terms of like what? Martial artists?
Like how much volume maybe that like would be a good starting position for them to get better at their game.
I'd say a minimum of 2 times a week initially to start. Like I noticed when I started doing jiu-jitsu training, I had to lower my training in terms of the gym to 2 days a week because like all that new fatigue I wasn't able to recover. But after a while you get used to it. I think like most guys can probably get away with 2 to 3 times a week in terms of training in the gym, but they just don't need to go crazy in the gym. Like right now with your in-gym workouts, I mean, you probably come out feeling pretty good, right? You don't feel beat up. Right?
I don't feel beat up. That's the thing. Like I'm at first, leg day would be leg day. But now I'm like, I can train after this and I feel good and I feel energized. But I do have a question for you guys. I feel really good when I lift fasted.
Me too.
I feel great. I feel stronger. Like I feel sluggish. I feel just coffee and maybe some Alpha Brain and, we'll go on from there, but just no food.
Have you added electrolytes to that yet?
I have not.
Dude.
I have not.
Dude, add electrolytes into
We'll send you home with some today.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, how do you feel about it, Mark? Do you think fasted or a little bit of food in you? Because I've heard both ways.
Well, for today, we did a podcast earlier today, and I was going to train after that first podcast, and I had the option to eat or just stay fasted. And I was like, if I eat, it's just going to slow me down. Yeah. Like time wise, I mean, it's going to take me some time to eat. Then I got to kind of digest it, and then it's going to kind of like. It's going to mess up my workout basically because I don't have enough time to let it like sit there. If I had 2 hours to let it digest, then maybe I would have chose the 8. But I like training fasted. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think for a lot of people, they just need to be careful that they don't get too far behind on the nutrients that they need. Yeah. And Nsima was mentioning, electrolytes and stuff like that. Super important. But I think sometimes there's so much talk about weight loss. I just kind of worry sometimes that people are going too far down that other side and then they're not getting their protein in for the day. Like if it doesn't affect you in the sense that you're still able to get your protein in for the day and you're still able to get some other good nutrient rich foods, then you're good to go. Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I did originally before I started my camp. Obviously when camp comes around, I got to eat a lot more because I'm putting out a lot of, I'm working every day, all day. So I have to eat. I need those nutrients. But
You
what
got
I did,
like 10, 12-hour days or something like that?
not so extent. I mean, with driving, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job, but I'll be physically active for about 5 to 6 hours a day. You know, and that includes running or conditioning and grappling and striking and sparring and drilling and in all areas. It's not all like that for listeners. Like, it's not all that every day. Some days are lighter. Some days are just 2 hours of tactical.
Many days
tactical
are three different, at least 3 different workouts, probably many times.
At
right?
least every day, yeah. So what I was doing for a little bit is I was doing fast. I was just saying fasted till about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And then the first thing that I would have would be a juice, just a cold pressed juice. And I felt great like that. And I could probably go like that till I'll have my juice and I have my protein. I started drinking this vegan protein about last year. Is I forget, it's at Whole Foods. It's like Orgain or something like that. A really good protein. I really like it. I like the way my body digests this, because I used to drink a lot of whey, and it just didn't sit well with me. So I stopped doing that. But I found that I still needed to get my proteins in and my nutrients. So I found that the vegan protein was actually really good for me. It worked really well for me. That along the juice, I'm ready for another workout.
I think it's important to figure out what feels good for you. You know, it's just really important. Like, what do I run well off of? I mean, you saying that you train fasted pretty often is a good indication that your metabolism is working really well. It sounds like your body is able to say, hey, like, let's use some sugar for this workout. Or if it has to, it can say, hey, let's rely on some fat for this, workout, because he didn't feed us anything. We don't have any sugar.
And I rely a lot on like my feels, and how I feel. And this week it's just been hectic. I've just been moving, and I have not been eating nearly as much as I should be. But this is kind of like a throwaway week, because I was moving and Carrion kind of gave it to me because my fight got extended and it got pushed back a little bit. So he kind of told me like, hey, come in.
We're going to get you hooked up, buddy. We're going to get you hooked up with some Piedmontese beef. We have like some of the best steak.
Oh yeah,
it's freaking awesome. We'll get a bunch sent out to you.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm really excited. But yeah, man, like those, I have not been eating enough this week because I've been just moving and doing all these things and still getting my workouts in, but still getting things done. And but yeah, I found that fasted work. I mean, my at least one workout a day has to be fasted, and obviously it's going to be the first one.
And this, it's not like just lifting. It's one of your martial arts ones too.
Yeah, I mean, I love running fasted. I love, and I'm not saying that it is for everybody. Some people don't like it, and some people it's not for everyone. But I like the mental clarity that I get throughout doing just my first workout fasted.
Have you been doing this for a while? The fasted workouts?
A few months now. And Dolce was huge on doing some fasted cardio, but then there's the opposite side of that. I will run 6 miles fasted, and that's not good.
Oh yeah.
That's not good.
Right.
That's not good.
I agree.
That's not good either, because then you start breaking muscle fiber and you. I
would have to say, it really depends on the style of workout that you're about to do and stuff. If you could think of things this way, if like, let's say you got paid to actually lift weights, right? Like say you got paid to work out, and you got paid based off of how you worked out for the day, just like you get paid for the fight. Like with the fight, you're not going to choose to be fasted for the fight necessarily. You're probably going to eat, 2-3 hours ahead of time, make sure your stomach doesn't get weird or whatever, right? If you're to pick up points or make money rather off of like lifting, you'd probably choose to eat a little bit of food. Because you would probably have a little bit better performance, you probably would make more money. Yeah. And so if you think about, it just depends on what you're going to do though. Like how important is that particular workout for that particular day? And also, what does digesting food, does it slow you down? Is it going to feel, crappy when you're trying to do your training? And it's all these things, they factor in heavily to whether you should eat or not before you do a training session.
Definitely. And I agree with that, because and I look at my schedule, I'm like, okay, I have this and that. Am I going to have enough time to eat between these workouts, or should I eat now and just rest and then go for my workouts, or should I go fasted just all day? And sometimes I'll just have to really be honest with myself and be like, okay, we should eat now, or we should eat later, or Did
you take any supplements, any amino acids or anything like that?
I do take aminos. Aminos.
One thing I would just suggest is just like your body doesn't really, at least as far as we understand right now, your body doesn't really necessarily store protein or amino acids for like long periods of time. So that might be something to consider. Is just, you did mention you throw down a protein shake and you have some aminos, so that sounds like you're on the right track.
I do the aminos. I used to do different types of aminos. I think I'm doing Yamamoto Nutrition. My buddy Flex Lewis. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Of course we do.
Yeah, Flex he's a funny guy, man.
He's really just doesn't have a lot of muscle mass, though. I guess
small.
He's moved up in the Olympia, right? He's doing like the heavyweight.
Yeah, he's going heavy.
Ooh.
He's
like,
going heavy.
He's like 230 pounds right now, and it's just doesn't. You can't even. You're not even sure what you're looking at anymore.
Yeah. I love that guy, man. He hits me up whenever I have a fight coming up. Hey, like, hey, man, I'm, like, we're like,
he is a savage. That guy, amazing.
I was hanging out with him, and I was like, we went shopping because we were both in New York for a Bellator fight because he's a monster athlete, and I am as well. And we went shopping. He's like, man, like I can't buy any shirts because I gotta get my shirts like custom made. He gets like a triple XL, but then he has to cut it because I think he's a little shorter than me.
He's probably quite a bit shorter than you.
He's a bit
like
shorter
5'4" or 5'5".
But he's like, and I was working out, and I remember we were working out, and he was like, he gave me little
amazing.
pointers, like just like little things, man, like no, you gotta flex the pinky or something like that, like for just curls, like. But yeah, he's an amazing guy. He's a really good guy. He got me hooked up with he told me like, hey, if you want some really good aminos, the Yamamoto ones are gonna be really good. And they've worked really well. I actually feel a difference throughout my workouts and post workout, and I swear by aminos.
Another advantage of aminos is they usually have electrolytes in them. So
maybe he's
some, you get some of your salt, you get some of your magnesium and potassium and stuff like that from some of that stuff.
Yeah, and on hot days, I love starting my day out still fasted, but I'll just do salt water with lemon, just to get a little extra
get that
electrolytes
sodium in.
and get
Perfect,
get those micronutrients in. And there's some days that I feel like that too. And
how about sleep, man? It's gotta be. Is it tough to sleep? Or are you just dead by the end of the day?
It just depends. It just really depends. I started using ZMA. I don't know if you know what that is.
Absolutely.
I started using ZMA, and it doesn't make me fall asleep faster or not, but I do feel a difference in how I sleep and my recovery throughout my sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately I wasn't able to take it yesterday because all my stuff is packed up and I'm still unpacking at my house. But yeah, I feel a huge difference with that. And I just, I know that the more I train throughout the day, the better I'll be able to sleep at night, even though I'll be tired and I'll be, however I get to that end of the day. The CMA has actually helped me a lot in recovery.
Naps?
A lot.
You able to get a nap in here?
I love napping.
Yeah,
but it's gotta be like that, like
I know,
that between. It's gotta be like that 30 to 28 minute nap, man. I'm telling you, like anything longer, I'm like, I'm sluggish. I'm sluggish. The pad session's going different. I do add some CrossFit workouts in there. And those are mostly in the afternoon. So like if the nap's too long, I won't wake up. I won't bounce back. And that'll mess up my sleep at night too, because I napped too long. So now I'm going to fall asleep at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. instead of at 11.
Does your day start pretty early?
For the most part. And regardless, it always does. Like today it started very, very early. But regardless, it usually does.
Most time, 5 or 6 o'clock, you're getting up and moving on something.
I usually, and then if I have an early transition, I still have to like walk the dog and do all these things and like, I don't ever like rushing. Like I don't like waking up like 10 minutes before work. But even though I live right now, well, I used to, I guess, because I just moved. I live maybe 2 minutes away from the gym, but I always wake up an hour and a half early because I like to do my coffee. I like to drink my coffee.
And you got to poop because if you drink coffee.
And walk the dog, and I don't like rushing. That's one of my biggest like things. I hate rushing. I hate just being on the go and like that stress that comes from rushing.
I'll tell you how stupid I am. I hate rushing, right? But I'm always late. And I'm always rushing.
Yeah.
I need to get better still. I still got to work on that.
And when I'm rushing, actually, lately, like my grandpa used to tell me this thing that Napoleon said. Napoleon, he used to get dressed by his servants and stuff like that. And I never caught this because I was really young. He was like, Napoleon used to say, dress me slowly because I'm in a hurry. And that, if you think about that, you make the most at least for me, I forget things. I go the wrong, it's like dress, like,
accuracy.
Like when accuracy, think about what you're doing. Think about It's like it's a big thing.
Dress me slowly so that if we fuck up, I don't have any time to come back and change in anything else because I'm in a rush.
Being cautious when you're in a rush is huge, and that's something that literally just clicked for me. Like I was maybe like 10 years old. My grandpa used to tell me, like, "Why is he telling me this?" But now it's like, wow, that applies to a lot of things that I do now in life. So
wow.
Yeah.
My wife's old boss, he used to always say you got to slow down when you're going fast, and he was a New Yorker and kind of had this thick New York accent, and he was all about doing everything real fast, and so a lot of other people around him thought this is the way we do shit, like you do stuff real fast, but then they would do something and they would do it wrong, and he said, look, you got to slow down when you're going fast. Meaning it's kind of a similar thing that you're talking about. Like let's bring some accuracy to it, even though I asked you to move quickly.
Efficiency is a big thing, and that's being actually a big theme in this camp and this like just being efficient with my training sessions, being efficient with my days, being efficient with my recovery and my rest days, being efficient with what I eat. Just efficiency all around.
Yeah.
Andrew, what's the quote from John Wooden? If you see if you can look that up, he has a quote about. He has a quote about like slowing down or being efficient or it's something sick. He's just so, he's a freaking legendary coach. Good with that shit.
I'll find it.
As we look that up, man, as far as recovery is concerned, like, do you do stretching? What do you do for yourself?
Cryo.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't in a minute, so I would be a hypocrite to tell you that I do it every day. But cryo, I find cryo to be very, 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 very helpful when it comes to fighting and everything. I don't get as much body work as I should. But yeah, that's probably one area of improvement that I need.
Okay.
Recovery. Definitely
it seems
recovery.
like the cold therapy is huge. And then if some people do hot and cold, where they go back and forth, and I've had opportunities to do that before, and even if it's only for a little bit, which it kind of feels like it doesn't really last that long, but it's a good 10-20 minutes where you kind of feel like someone, it's almost as if you didn't work out at all for a little bit.
The endorphins are
your legs are killing you, and you get in there and it gets rid of all the aches, all the pains, and you're like, wow, like that made that big of a difference. Like that's crazy.
So normally what I used to do, I haven't been finding time for it lately, but what makes me feel good is I'll go to cryo, then I use the compression boots, the Normatec, and then after that I'll do 20 minutes in the sauna. And that's just such a huge, like, I'll feel really good after that. I feel like I can go back and do another 2-3 hours.
Is it be quick but don't hurry?
There you go. Yeah,
don't
be
hurry.
quick but don't hurry. Yep, sick.
John Wooden.
With your fight coming up right now, is it a little bit different for you than some of the other fights in the past? I mean, it sounds like you're maturing and growing and learning so much more about yourself. Does it starting to feel different? Because you were mentioning like a little fighting with some anger, and I'm sure you kind of want to use that sometimes too, right, to your advantage. But is it getting different as you mature? Yeah,
I mean, I look at fighting. Like I said, it's more of a business transaction. There's still the passion. The passion is always there, and that's what fuels it. And every day, waking up every day and having that goal, as we talked about, is huge. But yeah, I mean, there's always that competitiveness that is there, and that has to remain, because you want to be better. But what I found is, like, I'm not trying to compete with anybody. At least now, I'm not trying to compete with anyone in the room. I'm trying to compete with myself, man. I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday. It's like, can this Gaston beat the Gaston 4 years ago? Can this Gaston beat the guy that came in yesterday? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to progress, but I'm not trying to compete with anyone. Yeah, my opponent is my opponent, and that's just another opponent. But I'm trying to the path of self-improvement is the one that I'm on.
Do you get caught up in some stuff here and there where you're like, man, I'm fucking wasting my time. Why am I doing this? Like social media or trying to capture a selfie? Like, do you find yourself going, dude, like we're on a mission here. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You have to do that to yourself.
I've definitely been way too caught up in social media before, and this affected my relationships with previous girlfriends and people and family. So I finally hit, for the first time, I'm really proud of it, I hit less than 3 hours on my phone.
Nice.
Average.
Nice.
I'm pretty happy about
that.
I'm
that's
not
great.
Lie. I'm pretty
First
happy
of all,
about it.
I got to commend you on just recognizing it.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. Like, most people just, they don't want to recognize that it's,
what am I doing with my time? What am I, like, this, I'm trying to do, if you're trying to do things, you can't be like essentially like just looking and scrolling.
Yeah, you're more interested in your phone than you
what
are.
are other people doing.
Yeah.
No, that's huge. Like just being able to like be present. That's a huge thing too. Like being present. Like when you're at when I'm at my grandma's house, like I want to be present. I want to be there. When I'm having conversations with people, I want to be present. I want to be there. When you're in training, when you're doing things, I want to be present. I want to be there. I don't want to be thinking about, you know, who what so and so posted or whatever. Like I want to be present.
Yeah.
And that's what.
Yeah.
I understood finally. You know, and it's still, I mean, it's still like my phone's like, it's right here.
Right.
You know, so it's right there. It's very easy to fall back into it, you know, but I'm just that, like I said, that awareness that.
Well, people already know how good of a fighter you are too. So it's not like you capturing that extra selfie, even if it's with the greatest fighter of all time, is going to really.
Yeah.
But you just get excited. You get excited about it. So it's such an easy trap to fall into.
It's just so easy to like, okay, you post one thing and then you post another one and you post another one and you're just scrolling and like you're not present. And you see that with this generation so much. Everyone's on their phone. You see people on dates and everyone's on their phone. And I'm telling you right now, I used to be like that. Yeah. And sometimes I can be like that. And just being aware of that is it's helping me a lot. Yeah. You know, it's helping me a lot because I don't care to be on my phone like that. You know, my phone's a tool. You know, it's getting me to the, you know, GPS, texting coaches or whatnot, texting friends, 100%, training partners, but it's a tool and it should be used as a tool. It shouldn't be your whole life.
Yeah.
And it's sad that this generation has fallen into that. And I hope that we revert back a little bit because I mean, like, to be honest with you, man, like I'm pretty pissed that my little sisters have Instagram.
Yeah.
My brother hits me up on Instagram and like he's 12.
Yeah.
I didn't have an Instagram when I was 12. My sister's 10.
It's too
What
different.
What do you have on Instagram?
Yeah.
You know, I was out surfing and training back then. I wasn't worried. I didn't have a phone to worry about. So yeah.
What about have you ever gotten caught up like trying to over promote a fight? Like, you know, we see that a lot these days with UFC, you know, like after they win a fight, it's like WWE sometimes. How about any of that stuff?
I mean, yeah, I've definitely gotten caught up, like fixated on like posting and promoting and like posting myself. And like you can get real, like social media can make you be like kind of like fall in love with yourself a little too much.
Yeah,
narcissistic.
Sure. Yeah.
I've been trying to post less and less. And, you know, I besides my sponsors and things like that, like duties that I have, you know, I love connecting with my fans and I love connecting with people, and I've been trying to reply to people more, people that just, hey, I'm a huge fan and this and that, and like I'm starting to love more like those genuine conversations, like people that actually care about you, versus just promoting things and just like throwing things out there in social media, you know. Like I like to be a little different than that now. At least I'm finding that. Yeah.
You know, I want to know about this, man, because two things come to mind for me when I think about this. Like the most devastating types of techniques in the ring. This past weekend, the Israel Costa fight, when he just kept kicking that knee. And then you mentioned that you've like kicked ACLs and just blown them out on people, right? And then also one thing that I saw, it was the Kamaru Usman versus Masvidal when he was stomping his foot. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was the first time I've ever seen somebody stomp somebody's foot. But then I was
quite
thinking,
popular actually among wrestlers. Yeah, among wrestlers is quite a technique. What was the question again?
I'm just curious, like, if you're doing that in a fight, couldn't that potentially just be like, I don't know, career ending? Because I just feel like getting kicked in the knee, it's hard to recover even post-fight.
It was a calf kick too, and calf kicks have become more popular throughout times.
Yeah.
It started, Benson Henderson was actually one of the original guys to first do it. It wasn't as devastating, but he's the first one that I've seen do those calf kicks.
Yeah.
The more the damage has shown how effective they are, the more people are throwing them. But it's as simple as just putting your shin out at a different angle, and that calf kick becomes you're kicking the shin.
Is it a kick on the outside or inside? Don't actually kick me.
It can go on the inside, right here,
Yep.
or you can go on the outside right there.
That would just.
And like I said, the shin,
Why'd you hit me?
the shin hitting that calf has become very popular because it makes a lot. How do you condition your calf?
Oh shit! Yeah.
No, you can condition your
Donkey calf raiser,
I can
bro.
condition my shins. I can condition
Yeah.
my body. I can squat and get stronger. Like I can get kicked. I can condition that. But conditioning calves, that's why they're so efficient. You know, and the foot stomps too. How do you condition the bones in your you can't.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about the fight game, but I've been watching it for many, many years, and I'm fascinated by it. Like, you know, because as a kid growing up and knowing a little bit about like boxing and then seeing like wrestling and then seeing seeing jiu-jitsu come along and just it was just really fascinating. Like when someone is doing something like a calf kick, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll just pick my leg up. Like, not a big deal. Then I won't get kicked in the calf. Well, I mean, first of all, you're still getting hit.
Yep.
And then secondly, now the guy can take you down or the guy can throw another, you know, fake at you or another move at you or whatever. So it's just like, it just seems like the ultimate chess match, and it seems impossible to ever really gain some real like mastery of it.
And Kieran says he always. I remember this like I always remember this when I get a little like when I get into different like exchanges that I shouldn't be in or like play chess, not checkers. You know, you want to be that assassin. You want to be cold-blooded in there. You don't want to have to be emotional. You don't want to have to go like essentially you don't want to do things that you don't want to do. You know, and like sometimes your ego will get in the way. It's like, no, let's get in the middle and like let's bang, let's go, instead of being smart and keeping your distance and, you know, making your opponent fall into your traps, you know? So, and talking about the evolution of the fight game, it's crazy. Everyone's like, it's beautiful to see, starting from, you know, the early days in the UFC when each fighter was good at one thing, you know, good as a good striker or a good wrestler, and they fought with shoes and gis on and things. And now seeing the progression and the evolution of it is beautiful. It's beautiful to see how much the sport has grown. It was the first sport live through COVID. I mean, that speaks volumes. That's the only thing that was on.
That's huge. People need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're talking about calf kicks, it made me think about an oblique kick. Why the hell is it called that?
An oblique kick is completely different than a calf kick.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it just made me think about that, and I have no idea why it's called an oblique kick.
Is the oblique kick the straightforward one?
The straightforward. That's the one that John Jones does on top of the opponent's knee.
Yeah, I was talking
Oh, God.
And it's a small move, but it can. But that's another thing. Like, you have to see John Jones' body and his composition. He's very tall. He's very long. He's not gonna like put himself in much danger by doing that.
Yeah.
You know, if I try to do that, and to someone like your height,
Close in.
I'm too close. I'm gonna get hit. So it's different techniques work different for different fighters.
Wow. Who is your favorite fighter? Like, as you watched fighting over the years and you've participated in it, who's the person, like, maybe you don't emulate someone, but maybe like, actually there's, okay, two questions here. Who would your favorite fighter be? But then also, who are the fighters that you look to and you're like, I like kind of like the stuff that they're doing?
I mean, and I might sound like I'm jumping on the bandwagon or whatnot. I love Easy. Israel Adesanya, best striker in the UFC right now, best striker in the game potentially.
Really?
Yeah, he's that good. And I've seen him go from his glory kickboxing days, and fighting Muay Thai before that, into what he is now. And his evolution is crazy. It's crazy to see how much he's evolving, how quickly he's risen to the top. So yeah, he's a fighter I definitely look up to in that way. But I'm a student of the game, and I love watching fighting, and I'm always watching it. I'm always every fight, not every single fight, but obviously I try to like analyze, and at home at night I'll watch different fights too. And yeah, I love the game on this. Like, I love watching things and picking up things and like, wow, that worked for this guy. How come it didn't work for that guy? And like, I guess that's my favorite thing to do, is just analyze and kind of grow that fight IQ, and you know, with just vision and watching. Yeah.
I think Bones Jones is like so ridiculous when you watch him fight. Like, sometimes he's like mentioned this before where he's like stole the other guy's superpower or whatever. And you're like, what the fuck's he talking about? But he kind of does. Like, you know, whatever the other guy was really, really good at, he just does that back to them and somehow kicks their ass with it.
And that's what I'm talking about. He always fights his game plan. He always follows through with that. His opponents are always finding their B fight. You know?
They got to go to a different plan.
You got to go to a different plan. And what if you didn't train for that different plan and you got to adjust and you're not ready to adjust? And you have a guy that is adamant and consistent with what they're doing. It becomes very difficult. You know, especially when they're the champion.
Yeah, him and Adesanya have been going at each other back and forth on Twitter.
Yeah.
That would be a crazy fight.
I would love to see that.
Dude, that would be
because I
fun.
think Izzy definitely has the frame for it to go up in weight if he wanted to.
He's gigantic.
He definitely has the frame, and I think, you know, he's faster. I think it'll be a great fight. I think it'll be great for the sport.
I liked his response to the steroid allegations. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he was like, you know, if I would think I'm on steroids too, the way I like whoop that guy's ass. Or
I
whatever.
mean, if you look at Paulo, like, and you look at Izzy, like, if to like the general public, they'll be like, oh, that guy's gonna win.
Right.
But what happened?
Yeah, right.
But real talk, everyone like who's thinking Paulo Costa's on steroids, he's 6'1", 185 pounds. Like,
he's not massive. Yeah.
He's not. He's just really, really lean. It's just like people don't.
I've heard on on Joe Rogan's podcast that he's a like, he measures all his food and like all he does is train, and that's all he focuses on. Like, I don't know personally because I never met him.
Yeah.
But from what I hear, like, it makes sense. If you're like that, I don't see why you couldn't get that big and why you couldn't do that. And, you know, genetics play a big part into it. You know, like, you see people that are at the gym all the time, every day, and their results are in there, or they're not eating right, or they're not doing the right things, you know? But if genetics and, you know, nutrition and sports and everything and activities, everything lines up together, like, I don't see why you couldn't get like that.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, actually, I'm curious about this because a lot of fighters don't really pay much attention to their nutrition. They just focus on the fighting and the training, and that's great. For you, because Kieran was always like in your corner, did you always have like a good nutrition going for you, or did you? No?
Nah, man. I mean, I was a kid when I started, so I will have times like Kieran would pick me up and be like, hey man, we're fighting this weekend. I'm like, cool. I'm eating ice cream right now, so let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go cut 5-10 pounds, whatever we got to do. And like, we'll rehydrate and like refeed however I needed to, you know. It was, there was no science to it, you know. There was just, and then he started coming up with different things, you know, and like, you learn, it's trial and error like anything else, you know. You learn, and then the higher you get up in the game, and the harder it becomes to cut weight and keep that weight down, and the different goals that you have, like maybe I want to be really ripped, or maybe, you know, I want to just get bigger and cut down from there. Like, it depends on what goals you have. But yeah, nutrition is a huge factor, huge factor, because you are what you eat, and if you're eating like shit, you're not gonna feel very good. You're not gonna perform very good, and that's, at least that's what I found.
Do you like coaching people?
I love coaching, man. I love coaching. One day,
this guy's like, he's training for 5 hours, and he's like coaching people in between. The last time I was at his gym, I was like, how is this possible? The guy's a savage.
I find transferring knowledge fascinating. Like, being able to like have the words that click to a person, and seeing that, like, yep, I got it.
Or when it doesn't, right?
Or when it doesn't,
you say something, you're like, how did they interpret it that way? What are they doing?
You have to find different ways or different analogies. Like, I love Darren Oyama. He uses a lot of analogies with me, like surfing. He surfs too, so he uses different like, you got to get up like it's like a wave, you know. You got to, and like that clicks for me. So me seeing how it clicks for me with him or with different coaches that I have is fascinating. It's fascinating to like see that. It'd be like, wow, like that clicked for me, and like being able to transfer that to someone else, like being able to have that, that's huge. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's how I feel about coaching. I love coaching. I don't have as much time for it as I wish I could, you know, but I do help a few guys in the amateur team, and I do love coaching practices. When Kieran's out of town, there's a high chance that I'm gonna be coaching the practice, whatever it is, whether it's striking or sparring or whatever it is. There's a high chance that and I love doing it. I love being able to do that when I have a chance. Yeah.
Do you think it might be something you will move into, you know, as you get older and can't fight anymore?
I don't know, man. Fighters are complicated, myself included.
Yeah.
Fighting's crazy. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and and it's a lot to deal with. Yeah, I would love to one day be able to like have a few fighters, but have a huge fight team, I don't know, man. Like, I want to have a family eventually. I want to have kids, and I don't want my world to revolve around just fighting. You know, I want to retire by the time I'm 34. I don't want to keep doing this forever.
Gotcha.
You know, I have goals. I have things that I want to do.
How many fights can you, or do you ideally try to take a year?
This year, I mean, I had that one fight in February. Unfortunately, COVID happened. I will probably be at 3 fights now and maybe one more. Ideally, 3 to 4 is ideal. You know, given the camps and the time in between, and I don't gain too much weight in between camps, so it's nice. And I don't get out of I live in the gym, basically. You know, I love taking little vacations here and there, but yeah, I love the gym. It's what I was brought up in that environment, so that's what I do. You know, whether it's a workout or a CrossFit workout, or maybe we'll squat today, or maybe we just hit some mitts or hit the bag. Like, I've always been, you know, around the gym, so I ideally 3 to 4 fights.
Nice.
Are your parents excited? You know, that like what you've become and what you've been able to do. That must be pretty amazing for them to have seen your progress.
My dad's one of my biggest fans, man. He's every time he's always excited, and like he gets more emotional than I do, you know. And my mom's always like, I left Peru and I left my mom when I was 13, but we've always kept communication, obviously. But she kind of like didn't realize like what I was doing until I fought in Peru a couple times, and she saw like what was going on. She's like, oh,
you're signing autographs and stuff.
Yeah, and they're like, wow, okay, this is what we're doing now. So she kind of like my mom just kind of goes in with the variety, you know, and like she's always like, hey, I wish you the best, you know. My grandma's a huge supporter as well. She's there for every fight, man. My grandma, man.
Oh, that's cool.
On my arm. She's that's when she was back in the 50s.
She's like, kick his ass.
She was a flight attendant in the 50s, and only the prettiest women were allowed to do the job back then in Peru. So that's cool. That's what she met my grandpa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And the ladies, they don't, the mom and grandma, they're not like squeamish about you getting hit.
I mean, my grandma see me getting knocked out. She see me getting tapped out. Like she's not tapped out. She see me get choked out. Oh. And she's always there after, and she's like, I love you. And you know, like she's always, and for her to see that, I think it shows how much of a supporter she can be. You know, my mom would probably like, no, like my mom wouldn't be able to see that. My dad gets angry if I lose. He's happy when I win, you know, but I've always had great support from my family.
That's awesome.
And obviously Kieran and Jessica being my family as well. They've always supported me through all that. MJ as well.
I love when people don't understand it very well, and they're like, what happened? And you're like, I got smoked. Like, I don't know. Like, fuck, man. Like, shit's hard.
Well, why didn't you hit him?
Yeah.
You're like, just.
Yeah, people ask you that all the time. And you learn how to deal with, you know, like, and things not to piss you off so much. Because there's people that literally hit you up. You're about to fight 2 hours. Like, hey, what's the address? And like, dude, I'm fighting in 2 hours. Like, why are you asking? And it's like, hey, can I still buy tickets? And I'm like, or after, same thing. Like, what happened?
Can I get him for free, bro?
What happened? What do you do to him? Like, and people always trying to get things for free.
I thought you trained really well. What happened, bro?
Why didn't you do the elbow thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you help people understand, and you communicate. So you know, everyone's come to support you. You know, it's always a beautiful thing. You know, win or lose, you know, you always have that support system behind you. At least I've always had, and I'm thankful for that. I'm truly blessed that I'm in the position that I'm in. I'm truly blessed that I have the people that I have surrounding me, and I'm truly blessed to be in this journey, man. I'm happy. I love what I do. I wake up every day. Sometimes I wake up really sore, but I wake up every day. You know, with that passion and that drive, and I hope that, you know, that doesn't go away. I'm trying to keep it there. I'm trying to keep that fire active, and I feel like it's reignited lately. You know, I feel like I'm truly like in a different path now, and I'm happy.
You know, I can't say that I know a lot of fighters, but I don't know any notable Peruvian fighters. So being that like your family's back there, do you have any plans on doing anything in terms of Peru as far as fighting is concerned?
I have a gym. I had a gym. If you can pull up Fight Lab Peru, that's a gym. It's a beautiful gym in the 20th floor of one of the nicest buildings in Lima.
Wow.
We have a gym over there. Unfortunately, COVID has hit us a little harder than we wanted to. things over there were pretty rough. People were on lockdown, full lockdown, everyone for months. And now gyms still can't open, so we're trying to figure out a way. But I mean, yeah, man, I see myself going in different avenues, with this. And I every time I'm in Peru, I always try to do a seminar or a free seminar and or try to bring close with me and give it to the kids that are just getting started, whether this is their path or not. A little motivation can go a long way for anyone in any given day. So yeah, I love going. I lived in the north for a little bit, in the north of Peru, and it's very poor over there. It's a very poor area. And last time I went there, I was able to bring a few of my 20 or 30 pairs of shorts that I don't use anymore, and I was just hanging them out, and they were so happy, man. And seeing being able to do that for someone is huge, man. It's huge. It's beautiful to be able to do that for people, and that's the kind of person that I want to become, and do it in a larger scale. That's ideally, being able to do that in Peru and maybe have a non-profit or something like that. It's something that can support kids and motivate kids to do that. That's where I see myself going in the future with that.
Have you gotten happier over the years? You've mentioned the word happy a couple times, and you feel really good. Previously, did you have a hard time finding that?
Well, man, I've been married and divorced. I've been through relationships. I left my mom when I was 13. I've had that. I've had, my parents divorced when I was 8. I was just able to squash that lately with them, so I feel like I'm finally at a moment that I can be flowing.
Cool.
I finally feel like I got there. I'm still working every day. It's a constant work, and it's a constant battle every day to not be how you were, previously. I've been a shitty person. I've done shitty things, and being able to understand that and not just kind of throw it's fine. No, there's a reason you act different ways. So being able to understand that and comprehend that, and like I said, trial and error, and being able to actually address the issues is what I'm working towards right now. And I'm still working, man. It's a never ending journey, much like the martial arts, and they both go so hand in hand. Life and martial arts and fighting it can be so similar, of the things that can happen to you in life and the things that can happen to you in the gym or in the octagon or the cage. So yeah, just trying to balance it out, man. Just trying to find a little balance here.
I always think that, working on yourself is a full-time job.
Definitely.
It's something you got to do every day, and it's something you got to take very seriously, and it can be hard. It'd be hard to have
easy,
perspective,
man. And a lot of people don't want to look in the mirror, man. Essentially, it's hard to look in the mirror, and it's hard to see and look at those ugly traits and face them on, much like it's hard to hear that you suck at a certain thing in fighting. Hey, why are you getting taken down constantly? You can tapped out. Why are you getting hit with that constantly? Same thing. I got to improve that. Same thing in life,
Dope. So retirement at 34, what's the roadmap look like?
I mean, I'm just giving you a date. Just giving you a number, really. I just know I don't want to fight forever. I don't want to be a 40-year-old fighter. If things are well by then and I'm still going and I can take a couple fights a year, yeah, of course, I'll keep fighting. But I just don't want it to be the center of my life for so many years, till I'm I want to focus on other things. I want to have a family eventually. I want to be more of a leader, and you can't do that while you're you're very self-involved when you're a fighter. Everything's about you. Everything else is just components. But everything, the camp's all about you. Is what can you bring to the table every day, and what are you going to bring to the table when it comes to that fight. So I don't want to do that forever, man. I want to be a little less selfish later in life.
And I feel like for other sports, it's got to exist. But what is it about fighting that people will straight up live in their cars just so that way they can train? And it's such a, you just said it yourself earlier, yeah, it is scary. I don't want to go and fight somebody else, but for somebody to put themselves through something like that and be willing to give up everything, what is that all about? Because I don't see somebody living in their car to play basketball. You don't see that. I really only hear about it with fighters.
Well, I think it's such a thing fighting is not something that you do in high school. It's not something that you do, like, it's not like you're not brought up on it, you know, like basketball, football, like you do it in high school, even wrestling, soccer. Those are things that you do like as you grow, you know. And some people play it in college, or some people go to college and then eventually professional or whatnot. Fighting is something that you kind of like. Most people that I've heard, like, they just find it, or it finds them, and they fall in love with it, and they're willing to live in their cars, and they're willing, and that passion's there, man. And I'm telling you, when that passion's there, it doesn't matter if you're eating top ramen or not. You're gonna show up, and you're gonna do everything you need to do so you can be successful, you know.
Yeah.
And I saw that when I went to Jackson Wink, and just seeing like some of the fighters there, they, you know, they live in like kind of a dorm.
It's a dorm, yeah.
Type
it's a
of
dorm
thing.
over there.
They live at the gym,
Yeah.
and it's just they don't care. They love it. Like they really are. They're more than happy to be there. Like they're really fucking pumped that they earned a spot to be there, and the conditions that they live in. Not that they're gross or anything, but they would be really difficult. You know, to live amongst a bunch of other fighters that have the same goal as you, and to kind of, you know, it's almost like the Ultimate Fighter, like reality show, but they're living it every day. Like shit, man, that would be a very competitive environment, and to share a space with so many other people would be really tough.
I mean, I've seen people like my friend Diego Lamas and his wife Mariana Lamas. They're from Mexico. One day they just showed up at the gym. Like, yeah, we live here now.
In the gym?
No, like we moved here.
Okay.
And they made it work.
Wow.
They made it work. They found jobs. They found a place to live, and they made it work. And there's so many stories like that.
Right.
People just show up because Kieran, we don't have dorms at the gym. Kieran's like, you want to be here? If you want to be here, you'll be here.
Right.
That's how he is. If you want to be here, you'll be here. And a lot of people really want to be there, man. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Great having you on the show today. Thank you for coming in. We got to have you stop by some more because
Dude,
now you're coming down to train a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here once or twice a week. I've been working with Danny Castillo a lot at Uriah Favors gym, and all the guys there. It's been a great addition to my training, man. Like I said, and but yeah, man, I'd love to come sometime, and then we can do a little lifting as well.
Yeah, hit
that'd
up
be
some
cool.
box squats. We don't have to bench.
I mean, we can bench, but we got to do a lot of pull-ups too. That's fine with me.
There we go.
Where can people find you?
At Dreamkiller _ Bolanos on Instagram. Dreamkiller _ Bolanos, Bolanos.
And then who's the guy you're fighting coming up?
I think we're still waiting on a bout agreement. We're for sure fighting. There's a couple names out there, but we're still waiting on the actual bout agreement. But I know for sure I'll be on that card.
And then do you have a handful of fights that are going to be set up through Bellator that you're going to be doing?
I am a Bellator contracted fighter. So my next few fights, I have a contract. I have a few more fights on my contract. I don't know exactly how many. My manager manages that. Carrying.
And then who's the champion in this particular weight class that you're
at 145 is Patricio Pitbull, and at 135 is my friend Juan Archuleta. So I'm still coming down on those two weight classes and trying to figure out where I fit best at. But yeah.
Have you had to fight friends before? Have you had to fight like Kevin and stuff like that, or?
I mean, we
obviously in the training.
Little story. I know we're almost done, but
that's okay.
Kevin beat my ass for years. Years since I was 18.
Yeah.
You know, he came to the gym and like that was it, man. Like every day, get up, and that's what made me, you know, that was another great. Like Kieran brought. I mean, Kevin wanted to be at the gym, but Kieran made everything possible so Kevin will be at the gym, and that made me a better fighter. And I hope that I can do that for somebody else. You know,
that's cool.
Yeah,
just be the guy that kicks their ass every day.
But dude, tough love, man. Like that's you know, it's a real thing. Yeah. Tough love. Like fuck, I had to become better, or I had to evolve, and that was the only way. I couldn't just keep getting my ass beat every day by him. I had to become better. I had to become stronger. I had to lift. I have to run. I have to do all these things so that I can be better. I can be a better training partner for that person, and not just you know.
And then you guys never had an official fight together?
No. I've never had to fight a friend. Yeah, and I've never had to fight anybody from the gym. Kieran will never allow that. But yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a tough position to be put in, I guess.
People do it all the time, though. I mean, you see like camps like Jackson Wink or American Top Team, like they don't care. They'll just do it. So
It's just part of it. I guess you do spar against each other all the time, so
yeah,
it's just a notch above that,
yeah,
right?
I wouldn't fight anybody that I train with.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. Just why?
just because.
No point.
It's always going to be weird after that.
Yeah, did Kevin hit you with that? I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called, but when he just like sweeps your legs right off.
Oh man, I've been swept, kneed, like everything. And,
that shit looks brutal when he just like fucks people up and they're just like head over heels all of a sudden.
Yep. I mean, I've definitely been there before, and I'm thankful for it. Thank you, Kevin, Soul Assassin. Thank you so much. Love you, bro.
Both have sick nicknames.
Yeah. Soul Assassin. God. Yeah, that's pretty
Kevin
cool.
Ross is a fucking savage, dude.
He's
Yeah,
actually
so
the
cool.
one that taught me the spinning elbow like that, the way I landed.
Makes
it.
sense.
Oh, wow.
He taught me that, and it ended up sticking a little better with me. But I mean, he's landed it a few fights as well. I don't know if he's ever had a knockout like that or like that split like that, but I learned it from him. I applied it differently, but yeah, I learned it from him, and then I just been drilling it constantly with carrying for all these years. I can land it in sparring without having to land it and just getting this close to your face and just pulling.
Wow. That's like some crazy reflexes, though, to be able to pull that back.
Just like right there.
Yeah.
Just being able to show it, but that's what helps the timing of it, right? That's what makes the timing better. You can do it, but that's when I feel like you can master something. When you can do it slow and composed, but you can also do it really hard. You know, when you have that technique and when you find that balance of, okay, this works here, this works there, and you can actually execute it, and you can execute it any way possible, whether it's slow and technical and just showing it, or whether it's hard in a fight in front of 14,000 people at the SAP Center. You know, it just depends which one's it going to be. But if you drilled it properly, if you've done it how you need to do it, you know, it'll be there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Take us on out of here, Andrew.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everybody, for checking out today's episode. Thank you, everybody, for the chat room and on the live stream. Shout out to everybody that's competing tomorrow at Adamant Barbell, I think it's called.
Sounds right.
Yeah. So I was talking to Brian, who's competing. He trains here out of ST. So good luck to everybody there. Please make sure you guys are following the podcast at Mark Bell's Power Project on Instagram, at MB Power Project on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all over the place. Trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. My Instagram is at I am Andrew Z. Nsima, where can people find you?
At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube. At Nsima Yin Yang on Twitter. Mark?
I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch y'all later.